My name is Joseph Stanley, and I'm going to tell the story of Jack and the Bean-stalk. Long time ago, there was a poor old woman who lived with her child at the desolate outskirts of a really big city, right? Really big city. They're dirt poor, they live in a shack. She's a nice old woman. The son, very nice too. His name is Jack, by the way. One day, she was finally fed up with all of Jack's laziness. Jack was now near adult, and he had never gotten a job, never done anything. Very lazy person, good for nothing, you could say. So one day she says, if you're not going to do anything around the house, then you need to leave. And he goes, well, I could do something around the house, Mom, just give me a chore. She's like, well, we're so poor that we don't even have enough money to buy food. So I'm going to have to sell my car. It's a piece of crap old car, but I love it to death, and we're going to have to sell it if we don't want to starve. So could I entrust you to sell this car to make a little money so we can get some food? Sure, Mom, yeah, I can take care of that, no problem. So the son takes the car into the city. He doesn't really know what he's doing. Goes to the first dealership he finds. Pulls in, it's a rattly old car, it's just clunking around, he gets out, the door falls off. The guy at the dealership runs up to the guy and says, hey, what can I do for you? Well, I'm trying to sell this car. Okay, let me take a look at it. He takes a look at the car, and it's just a piece of junk. He takes a look at the kid, and the kid's just kind of wide-eyed in wonder. He's never really been in the city before. And okay, I'm not sure how much I can give you for this car, the dealership man said. Well, how much are you asking for it? Well, I don't really know. I've never done this before. What do you think? Being a clever man, a dealership owner, the guy thinks up a scheme, checks inside of his pocket, and inside of his pocket are a bunch of multicolored beans, like jelly beans, just a whole handful of them. Takes them out of his pocket, and he shows the kid, and he goes, hey, kid, these are magic jelly beans. What are you talking about, the little kid said. He goes, well, if you plant these, something amazing will happen. And, get this, one time only, I'll give you these jelly beans for that car. Fair trade. I promise. Kid's like, wow, really? I'll get those? You say they're magic, right? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Put them in the ground and something amazing is gonna happen. Okay. So he trades in the car, he takes the handful of jelly beans and puts them in his pocket and he runs on home. He's so excited to tell his mom what he got. Gets home, Mom, guess what? I sold the car, and I got these. She takes it in his hand. Candy? You sold my car for candy, son? Well, no, the guy said they were magic, he tried to explain. Please, Mom, you gotta listen. I'm very disappointed in you, son. I thought you could do this one thing, and it seemed to be too much work for you, so I don't know. I don't know if I can trust you. I don't, you're just a lazy good for nothing. I'm very disappointed. He's like, God, come on, Mom. The guy said these were magic. Just give it a try. She's like, no. And she slaps the jelly beans out of his hand, and they go flying out the window, out the door, into the yard, all over the place. They're just scattered. Oh, man, Jack thought, he's so distraught. He thought he did something good for once. For the first time in his life, he thought he did something right. And he screwed it all up. So he goes to bed that night, and they're both starving. They didn't have anything to eat. He didn't get any money. So he's just laying in bed and ends up falling asleep. And he's thinking to himself, oh, man, I really screwed up this time. Falls asleep, and the next morning he wakes up. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go out and I'm going to find those beans. Just to prove my mom wrong. I know there's something special about them. As soon as he wakes up and he opens the door and takes a look outside, what does he find? Huge beanstalk, just huge. 20 yards across, just a huge thick trunk all the way up to the sky. As far as he can see, it disappears into the clouds. He's like, what is this? This is nuts. These really were magic beans. And so he runs back in the house, he wakes up his mom, like, Mom, check this out. Check this out. This beanstalk grew in the yard out of nothing. Those beans. I told you they were magic. And she's like, oh. this is so strange. This is weird. What's going on? And like, Mom, I'm gonna climb that beanstalk. I'm gonna climb that beanstalk. I'm gonna make you proud because I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna find riches. All the riches in the world. I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna find them. I'm gonna bring them back and I'm gonna bring them back for you. No, son, you shouldn't go up the beanstalk, she said. It's so dangerous and I love you so much. You shouldn't. No, don't go up there. Mom, I can do this. Trust me. Please. Okay, fine. Go up the beanstalk, but you better be careful. Okay, Mom. Okay, I'll be careful. So he gathers up a whole day pack worth of stuff, as much food as he can scrounge, whatever was around the house, some water, and throws on his jacket, climbs up the beanstalk. It takes him forever. He's climbing, climbing. Finally makes it to the top, beyond the clouds. He can't see the ground anymore. He's up in this new world above the clouds. He's looking around. He doesn't see anything. There's nothing around. It's just white, fluffy clouds. Maybe what he thinks is a rock here and there. And he's like, this is strange. He takes a step out off the beanstalk and he realizes it's solid. There's ground up here. I can walk around. Wow, this is amazing. But he spent that whole time climbing, man. He is tired. He is tired, and he is ready to sit down and possibly take a nap. Because he can't go any further. He's hungry, he's starving, he can't. So he sits down on one of the rocks, and he's just daydreaming about this magical place, and he ends up falling asleep. No sooner had he fallen asleep, but he's woken up. Standing in front of him is this glorious fairy. Big wings, just gorgeous fairy. Pretty flowing dress, little wand, little crown, just gorgeous fairy. And he's startled. He's like, whoa, what is this? Who are you? What's going on? She's like, calm down, calm down. You're in the land of magic, and I'm a fairy. Now, you can't freak out. And he's like, what? Fairies aren't real. This is all crazy. What's going on? No. Relax. I will explain everything to you. But first you have to answer me this question. Do you know who your father was? Jack's thinking about it for a minute. Well, no, actually. My mom said he died before I really knew what was going on. I was just a little baby when he passed away, and every time I try to ask my mom about him, she gets all distraught. She's like, I can't talk about it. And she goes off somewhere else, and I sometimes hear her crying, and she just won't tell me about my father. It's actually really strange. She's like, well, I know the story of your father. And if you'd like to know, you must promise me one thing. If I tell you this story, you cannot tell anybody else. You cannot let your mother know that I let you know this story. You can't let a soul know that I told you this. Okay. What happened to my dad? She's like, well, before you were born, your father and your mother were very wealthy people, exceedingly wealthy people. Your mother was a fair maiden from a long-lost land that fell in love with your father, who was an adventurer. He traveled the globe, all sorts of places, looking for adventures, gathering treasures, secret things that no one ever thought existed, urban legends. He was a truly great man. And after he found his riches, exploring the world, he shared them with everybody who deserved it. All the poor, all the downtrodden. He let them in with open arms into his home. He fed them, gave them money, gave them clothes. He only helped the people that needed it. He didn't help the wealthy, and he didn't help the people that were well off. It wasn't his way. He'd only help people that truly deserved it and that truly needed it. Your father was a great, great man, known the world over for his generosity. Jack was a bit surprised at this story. Really? Well, then what happened to my father, this great man of many riches? Well, while your father was traveling around with your mom, his wife, gathering money, helping people, a giant from my world up here found out about him. This giant was a cruel, very desolate creature, very mean, very poor, and heard about your father up here in this world. Became exceedingly jealous. Decided one day to go down befriend your father and steal his money. Get rid of him, take his money, bring it back up here. So, the giant traveled down to your world, befriended your father as a poor, desolate soul. Your father took him in, helped him out. Later that night, when your father was sleeping, the giant snuck into his room and he killed him. He was quiet as a mouse, no one woke up. He stole all your dad's stuff, grabbed it all, gathered it together in a big old bag, took it to his home up here in this world. Ever since then, he's been living in his castle, smiling over his crowning achievement of how he defeated your father. Jack was, again, extremely surprised about this story. Wow, I had no idea this was even possible, he said. Oh yeah, it happened, and now it's up to you to set things right. Me, I'm just Jack. I'm not really anybody. I just travel up this beanstalk because I wanted to prove myself to my mom and to the rest of the world. What am I supposed to do? Well, off in the distance is his castle. And with my help, I'm going to help you steal all the stuff that rightfully belongs to you back from the giant. You can take it home, you can give it to your mom, and you two can live as if your father had never passed away. You can live the way you were supposed to live. Okay. What do I do? Okay. Go to the castle, speak to the giant's wife. She is waiting outside the door. Have her let you in, and that night, see if you can take anything from the castle. Okay. I'll give it my best shot. So he walks forever through the cloudy fluffiness of the sky until he comes upon this great castle, just like the fairy said. Okay. Takes a look outside. There's the giant's wife sweeping up the porch. Hi there, he said. I seem to be lost. I'm very hungry and not sure where I am. And I was wondering if you could help me out. The giant's wife was very confused. Humans don't usually dwell up there. She's like, what? What are you doing here? You know a giant lives here. He's not too fond of humans. In fact, he likes to eat them. So, what are you doing here? Oh, well, I'm traveling around forever. I just need a little bit of food and a place to stay for the night so I don't die, so I don't starve. I don't know. My husband, he really likes to eat you guys. So, are you sure? Yeah. Jack was really afraid, but he didn't show. Oh yeah, I think I can take care of that. So the giant's wife lets him in the house. She's cooking up a meal. It's humans. There's a whole dungeon down below filled with human captives that she cooks for the giant's meals. She brings him into the house, puts him in a tiny little teapot, closes the lid so he isn't found. She gives him a little bit of food, a little bit of water. Okay, you can stay here tonight. Just don't be seen by the giant or he's going to want to kill you. And so he's waiting in the teapot, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 the giant's home. The husband giant is home. He comes crashing into the house. Ah, wife, I smell fresh meat. I smell human flesh. What's going on? Well, honey, I'm cooking dinner. That's what you smell. And there's also some people down in the dungeon. So don't worry about it. Just sit down. Let's have a nice meal. Okay. He sits down with a large thud. And he eats and eats and eats and eats and eats. Just won't stop eating. And he's drinking. He's got tons of ale. He's pounding ale back like crazy. And he's laughing. After he finishes the meal, he's like, wife, go get my hen from upstairs. I want to amuse myself. And Jack's sitting in the teapot. Hen? What is he talking about? So the wife trumps upstairs and then comes back down, and in her hand she's got a nice little hen. Just sitting there, it's not running, not afraid, not anything. Sets it on the table, and walks away. The giant sits there for a minute, just looking at this hen. Brings his fist down on the table. Boom! Lay, he says. Just like that, the hen, laid an egg. That's not just any egg. glorious, solid gold egg. Just unbelievable. And the giant chuckles to himself. Ha, 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 ha. Yes, you do what I say. Lay again! And just like that, the chicken lays another solid gold egg. Jack's in the teapot, and he's like, wow, this is amazing. I'm going to have to get that thing and bring it back to my mom. And so he's waiting in the teapot for the giant to fall asleep. And eventually he does. Loud snores echo throughout the house. And Jack thinks it's okay to exit, so he gets out of the teapot and he walks over and quietly picks up the hen, puts it under his arm, slowly walks out of the castle. Gets to the beanstalk, slowly shimmies down the beanstalk, and he makes it home. Mom, he said, you're not gonna believe what I found. Check it out. A hen? Up there, up the top of the beanstalk? Oh yeah, but you're not gonna believe this. Watch this, Mom. Lay. And the hen laid a golden egg. It was unbelievable. For the next year, that little hen supplied them with all the money they needed, helped them get a new home, buy food, a new car, all sorts of things. Helped them help their neighbors, pay off their debts, everything. This hen was a godsend to them. And the beanstalk was kind of forgotten about. But about a year later, curiosity was creeping into the back of Jack's mind. He goes, if I found this hen up at the giant's castle, and it was been so good to us ever since, I wonder what else he has up there. I kind of wanted to go up that beanstalk again. He asked his mom what she thought about it. She said, no, after what you told me about the giant, no, that's too dangerous, son. You shouldn't go to the top of that beanstalk. No, don't. Please don't. For me. Don't go up there. For me. Okay, Mom, I won't. That night, he gets up a plan. Gathers up some food, some clothes, a little bit of water, puts it in a backpack, and he sneaks out of the house. He sneaks back up the beanstalk. Again, it takes him forever to climb this thing. This thing's reaching all the way up to the sky. Gets up to the top, finds the same rocks he found before. He's really tired, so he takes a little bit of break. And while he's sitting there, he's like, I can't believe I disobeyed my mom. I'm just a terrible person. Because I did that, I can't go back home without another miraculous present to present to her. So, after a little bit of time, a little bit of waiting, he goes back to the castle. But right before he gets to the door, he realizes, he can't come back, not looking the same way he did before. He's going to get recognized. And the giant's probably not too happy that his hen was stolen. So he finds a small pile of dirt right outside the castle gates. He takes it and covers himself with this dirt. Makes his skin a nice dark brown. Covers his face a little bit, takes his shirt, rips it up, walks up. Hopefully, the wife giant will not recognize him. And sure enough, who are you? I'm just a human wandering around. I got kind of lost and looking for a place to stay and a little bit of food to eat so I don't starve. She's like, well, I don't know if I can help you. Last time I let in a person, he stole my husband's favorite hen, the hen that laid the golden egg, and he hasn't been happy ever since. So I don't know if I can trust you. Oh, please, if you don't help me, I'm going to starve. And then what do I do? Well, okay, but you better be careful. And if anything goes down, I won't be able to protect you. Okay. So she takes him up, puts him again in the teapot, gives him a little bit of food, a little bit of water, says, wait right there, and you'll be safe. Again, around the same time, the giant comes home. Boom, boom, boom. I smell fresh meat. I smell human flesh. Oh, don't worry, it's just dinner, and the people you have in the dungeon, don't worry. Sit down, have a pint of ale, and dinner will be ready shortly. I don't know. Okay. So he sits down, has a couple pints of ale, gets served his food, gobbles it down. Oh, no. So much food. Takes forever for him to get to sleep. But finally he's getting tired, and he goes, wife, I want to amuse myself. Give me my bags of gold. Okay, hon. Jumps upstairs and she comes back down and she's got 2 big bags of gold. Gives it to the giant. The giant sits there and he counts the gold out of the bag. 1, 2, 3, 4. Puts it back in the bag. Counts the other bag. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does this over and over and over until finally he's kind of lulled himself to sleep. Jack thinks it's safe to come out of the teapot, so he does. Walks over to the giant, who's sound asleep, drunk. Looks at the bags of gold. They're huge bags of gold. He's like, I can't carry these. What do I do? So he decides to take 1 piece of gold out of each of the bags. Takes one of the pieces, takes another piece, puts it under both of his arms, and he's trying to sneak out of the castle. And he does. He makes it. Gets outside the door, gets back to the beanstalk, has the 2 big things, big old coins of gold, and he goes down the beanstalk. Makes it home, and he shows his mom. Mom, look! Check out what I found. Look at the size of these gold coins. We could live forever off of these. You went back up the beanstalk? She said to him. I can't believe you did that. You disobeyed your mother, and I am so ashamed. Yeah, but Mom, look what I brought home. Like it was perfectly fine. I got the coins. We're gonna live like kings, Mom. Oh well, as long as you're safe. As long as you're safe. That's all I care about. And so yeah, it was true. They took those gold coins. They were able to smelt it down, and they got tons of money for it. Tons of money. They spread the wealth around to all their friends and all their family. They bought a bigger house. They got another car. All sorts of things. A few years pass. The beanstalk kind of fades into memory. It's just more of a decoration in the backyard now. People come from around looking at it, asking about it, but no one ever dares climb it. Not after the story that Jack's told. But, just like before, curiosity gets the best of Jack. So he's trying to figure out a way to go back up there. If the giant had gold, he must have more treasures. He must have stolen more treasures from my family way back when. So I gotta go get him back. Asks his mom, hey Mom, I want to go up the beanstalk again. You think that's a good idea? Oh, no. Just no. You can't even think about it. What are you thinking? You know. That's too dangerous, and I can't allow it. If you do it, I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust you again with anything. No, but Mom, come on, please. No, and that's fine. Okay. But that night, he got together a backpack, snuck all the stuff in there, snuck out of the house, got to the beanstalk, started climbing up. Made it to the top, just like before. Really tired, very fatigued. Sits up against the rock, and he's thinking about it. This will be the last time I go here. Pushing my luck with this. Making my mom very upset, and I don't want to do that. So after a while, he gets up the courage, and he's like, okay, let's go back. But he can't go back looking the way he is, or covered in dirt. What's he going to do now? So he's thinking about it, He's oh, okay. Takes his shirt, rips off the bottom, and covers his face with it, like a turban. Takes his arm, takes the sleeves off of his arms, takes the bottoms off of his pants, and kind of has a new look to him. His face is all covered so you can't tell who he is. He goes back and walks up to the wife giant who's sweeping outside the castle again. Like, hey, I really need your help. I'm lost and I need some food and some shelter for tonight or I'm going to starve, I'm going to die. She's like, oh no, you're a human. Every time I let a human in here, something bad seems to happen. Something seems to get stole. My husband gets even more angry. And he's just a mess to deal with right now. So no, I can't. Please, if you don't let me in, I'm going to die. I got my family back home. I need to take care of them. And the only way I can take care of them is if I'm still around, if I'm able to make it back. I don't know. Okay, come on, please, just one night. One night, a little bit of food, I'll hide, no one will even know anything. Against her better judgment, she says yes. And she gets the feeling that she's making a mistake. So she lets him in, takes him, puts him in the teapot, gives him a little bit of food, a little bit of water, says hide right here, and you'll be just fine. He's been through this racket before, he's not afraid. All of a sudden, boom, 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 the giant's home.
I smell human flesh. I smell fresh meat. What's going on here, woman?
Oh, it's just dinner, honey, and the people you have in the dungeon. Don't worry. Nothing bad is going on. Like,
Oh, yeah? I'll see about that. And he goes stomping around the kitchen. He's checking jars, and he's looking through bags.
Jack's freaking out, right? This hasn't happened before. The giant's totally gonna find him.
He's checking everything. He's looking around. He's muttering to himself. He's real angry. Looking around, and he's
About to lift up the lid on the teapot when he thinks,
maybe I'm just going crazy. Maybe I'm just overreacting. No way a human would come in here for a third time.
yeah, right. So he never lifts the lid on the teapot. Jack nearly has a heart attack. Goes back down and sits down in his chair. He demands the wife bring him some ale. He demands she brings him some food. He's hungry. He's ready to eat. Bring him food, ale. He drinks and drinks and drinks and eats and eats and eats till his belly sticking out to here. He's drunk. He's kind of merry. He's like, wife, bring me down my harp. Okay, honey. So she jumps up the stairs and she comes down and she's got this little harp in her hand. Gorgeous harp. Solid gold. Rings shimmering in the light. Sets it on the table. Okay, get out of here. So she goes jumping back up the stairs and Jack's looking out at the teapot like, what the hell's going on here? Bangs his hands on the table and goes, play! And the harp begins to play the most lovely melody Jack's ever heard. Beautiful. Every note is beautifully plucked as if an angel was playing it, but there's no one there. It was playing itself. Okay. Jack's sitting there. He's like, I'm going to get that harp. It's the last thing I'm going to get. I'm going to take it home. I'm going to give it to my mom as a gift. And so, Giant's sitting there. He's listening to the music, listening to it, but he's had a lot to drink, had a lot to eat, and slowly going to sleep. Finally, it's too much. Eyelids get too heavy, and the giant falls into a deep sleep. He's snoring, making the whole house shake. Jack thinks it's the perfect time to get up and go steal that harp. So he gets up out of the teapot, and he's walking over, gets up onto the table, and it's still playing. He goes, and he reaches, and he grabs it. As soon as he begins to move it, the harp says, Master! Master! It was enchanted, and it was calling out because it was being stolen. As soon as it did, the giant woke up.
What's going on here?
He's looking around, and he looks at the table, and he sees little Jack with the harp, standing there, dead still. Fear just covering his body. Just,
Oh, I'm gonna get ya.
and he tries to stand up, but he had too much ale. And he stumbles over himself, and he falls onto the ground with a big old thud. And Jack's like, oh, my perfect chance. So he grabs the harp and jumps off the table, and he's on the floor. He's running for the door. The giant's trying to get up, but he's way too drunk. He's just stumbling, knocking stuff over. He's like, get back here, you! Jack makes it to the door, and he's running to the Bean-stalk, and the giant's coming out, but he's tripping over stuff, and he's just this big, honking, drunk buffoon right now. And Jack's running with the harp, and he gets to the Bean-stalk, and shimmies his way down as fast as he can. He gets to the bottom, and he looks up, and he sees the giant. The giant's chasing him. Oh, shoot! What am I going to do? So he runs to the woodshed, and grabs the axe, and runs back to the Bean-stalk. He starts hacking at the Bean-stalk. Oh my God, I gotta hack this thing down before the giant gets down and kills everybody. Oh man. He's hacking, and finally, with his last couple of hacks in, and the Bean-stalk starts to timber. Oh man, the giant's still up there, and he's coming down, and he decides to jump. The giant's falling, he's falling straight down onto their home. Bean-stalk comes crashing down. The giant comes crashing down. Straight through the roof of the house. And he's sitting there, and what's going on? And he's all woozy, just had a terrible fall. Jack comes up with the axe. One swing, he buries it in the giant's forehead. Right in the middle. Done. No more giant. Completely motionless. Not even a sound. Everything's complete. Jack looks around. Still has the heart. Mom's sitting there. She has no idea what just happened. She's freaking out. Runs up to the mom. Mom. I went up the Bean-stalk again. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, you were right, I shouldn't have done it. And she's like, Jack, this is the final straw, Jack. Like, wait, I brought you this gift. It's simply for you. And whenever you want to play beautiful music, you simply say play. And she's looking at it. Ah, well, I guess I can forgive you this one last time. And since you chopped down the beanstalk, I guess everything's going to be okay from now on. All of a sudden, poof, out of nowhere, comes that fairy. And she's like, hey, Jack, I'm so proud of you. You went in, you got your father's treasure back, destroyed the beanstalk, and destroyed the giant. All of this was kind of my doing. I gave you the willpower to travel up it, gave you the strength to carry those treasures back down, and I gave you the curiosity and motivation to go back up multiple times. It was all me. I was doing it for you, your mom, and your poor father, because you are good people. And the more you do good, the more good things happen to you. And now, you've killed the giant, and your family can prosper just as your father wanted them to. And the mom's standing right there, and she's like, what's going on here? What is this? And Jack's like, Mom, I know about Dad. I know that you were once a very wealthy family, very great, very prosperous, well known around the world. I want that to happen again. And so, with that, Jack takes all the money he has and picks up where his father left off, distributing money to less fortunate people, goods to less fortunate people, and he becomes just as known as his father, except even more so because he's the hero that climbed the beanstalk to get those treasures back. And ever since then, we've been telling the legend of Jack and the Beanstalk. Yay!